Hi, Dr. Sam.
We can't hear you.
I gave you the answers to all the test scores like in those last couple minutes. And you couldn't hear me? Oh my gosh. Remember, I live with 2 dogs. You're all I have. All of my jokes, you're all I got. So we're doing how to answer questions today, correct? So today is the day that we just do questions. We're going to do questions from all areas, but really learning that Dr. Pam says always, 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 it's a reading test. Okay, it's a reading test. If you remember that, if you get that, you won't freak out. I promise you. Learn to go back to the question, back to the question. I was having a conversation with someone earlier this week, and we were just kind of looking at the majority of people that passed the test on the first time. And I'd love to do research, but I just don't have the time nor the money for that. But I would bet that most of my first time test takers probably had ACT or SAT prep in high school. Did anybody here have ACT or SAT prep in high school?
Did.
That's what most of my clients are missing, is how to answer a test question. And that's part of what ACT and SAT prep taught you. So I remind you always, this has nothing to do with whether or not you're a good therapist. Nothing at all. You just don't have test taking skills. Now, some days you ain't got no content. I'm not going to lie. Some days you just don't know nothing. I tell you to study. You ain't studied. You ain't opened the book. You ain't done nothing. Okay. Facts. But most of the time, it really has more to do with just not having the skills that we need. Okay, I'm going to use questions from a variety of places today. If you've seen it already, I'm going to ask you not to answer. I'm just going to use a lot of variety of questions, but the goal is just to kind of see how we answer test questions and how we figure it out, especially if we don't know. Okay, you want to ask me questions before I start? Something you've seen someplace, something you saw, because, you know, if it was on Facebook, it had to be true.
I was wondering, um, when when we take the exam, are the questions all jumbled up or are they by order? Like, I take first, research after, and then first.
Okay, so are they in order by category? Is that what the question is? God, no.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. I'll let a repeat offender answer that. Somebody else answer that. Are those in order? So you never know. And what I always want to say is stop and reset every question. Stop. The next one's the next question. And what happens is so many times you've sworn up and down that you've seen this question before, and you probably have seen something similar, and you think you know it because you've seen something similar. And that's just not true. Just not true. Not true at all. Whether it is the theorist, whether it is any of the theorists, they're vague. They're vague. The stats and research questions, math or facts. Math are just facts. After you're finished with us, you will understand it's not near as hard as you think it is. Not near as hard as you think. I promise you. Most of us have PTSD from being in, middle school and college and crying. The only time I was valedictorian in my class, predominantly white school, valedictorian. The only time I went to summer school was for geometry. I made a C the first time and I had to bring it up to an A so I keep my GPA up. Geometry. Who needs geometry? Why did they make me take it? So we're all not math people, but these are the easy ones. Those are the ones you just memorize. Okay. Okay. Ask me other questions, things you've seen someplace, something you've seen on Pocket Prep, you've seen on Josh's materials, you've seen in the Purple Book, something that I can explain to you. Remember, as we're going along, I don't care if you get it right. I care if you understand why you got it right. If you understand the context of why you got it right, then you'll always get it right. Questions? Anything? I hope you have some for me. Okay, I'll be right back. I've got to run to the restroom and I'll pull up questions. Did you hear the minute I said that word, the R word, my dog started barking and like crying because they know what that means. Okay, I gotta go pee pee. Okay, mama, we get to go too. Two Shih Tzus. One second. I think storms are predicted for most United States. Anybody been affected by storms last night, tonight?
My power went out right before this. Came back on. So if I disappear, that's probably what happened.
So I have a generator. It's hooked up to my refrigerator and my I have 4 monitors in here. So that's my priority. I can lose power in every part of the house, but not my office. So I have an upstairs and downstairs unit. So one of the units upstairs and the refrigerator and probably the freezer and here. That's all. That's my priority. When I have a plan like that, I prepared for something that might go wrong. The theory is by Meckenbaum. What is that term?
Incubation.
Stress inoculation theory. Stress inoculation theory. Absolutely. When you were younger, it was your went to school. They told you to stop, drop, and roll. That's called stress inoculation theory. You give yourself a little bit of the stress, so when something happens, you're more prepared. That chat box. Just terminology, stress inoculation theory. Okay. Word document, just a second. I'm just going to go around the room. Okay. If you've seen the question before, I'll ask you not to take it so I can give it to somebody else. I don't want you to know if you've seen it. That's not fair. Okay. If you're new to me, I'll remind you that Dr. Pam says that taking test questions isn't studying. I strongly, if you're going to invest in pocket prep, I say that you don't invest into it until you're actually about a month out. Because there's so many questions and you see the same questions over and over again and you think you're getting better and you're not. You're really not. You've just seen the same questions over and over and over again. Okay, I'm going to start. Wow, people just keep popping in tonight. Okay, Stacy, you just have to be in my corner. So I'm going to start with you. Okay. Remember, always, always, always is we're going to read the question first. This is a question that I don't know where you'd find the answer to. Just one of the things we're supposed to know in life. So read the question first, understand the question. Then we're going to rule out 2. We're going to then get down to 2, and then we're going to pick our final answer. And all the way, I'm going to use Socratic questioning, which is going to ask you why. How do you know? That belongs to CBT. Okay, go ahead. Stacey?
Nothing is screen.
Oh, not sharing? Okay, one second. I'm going to put it in my chat box as well. Then let me share. There we go. See it?
Yeah. It says one of the continuing challenges for many children is A, enmeshed extended families, B, unchanging values.
Tell me, stay in my question. Stay in my question. So what's the question asking me?
It's asking for continuing challenges for children.
Okay. All it's asking me, right? Those one lines I want to scream. One of the continuing challenges for many children. That's what it's always asking me about these 4 choices. One of these things, when it says continuing, what do you think that means?
I would think it goes into adulthood.
I don't know that, but I do know it's not a one-time issue.
Okay.
Right? When I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words, every word matters. Okay. So when they say it's a continuing challenge, I wouldn't necessarily say it's into adulthood, but it's not just one event that came and went away. Okay. So understand the question. Now let's read all 4 choices again.
A, unless extended family. B, unchanging values. C, high stakes testing. Or D, poverty.
Okay. So let's talk about all of my choices. Enmeshed families, what's that?
No clarity in boundaries.
What? Very good. You know what theorist it belongs to? It's Minuchin, structural family therapy, right? So enmeshed families, right, are all up in everybody's business. Now, in all fairness, it says extended enmeshed families, which is not really correct because if it's extended, then it's Bowen, and Bowen didn't use enmeshed. Bowen used fused. Right. So that doesn't really make any sense because that's not anybody's verbiage. Okay. So whenever it's extended families, multi-generational families, that's Bowen. And Bowen says, again, we want to differentiate ourselves from the other members of our family. Okay. B is unchanging values. C is high stakes testing. And D is poverty. What can I rule out?
Lean towards eliminating C. Seems like it doesn't have anything to do with it.
Do you know what that means? And please think I'm picking on you. I'm going to pick on everybody else, okay? So high stakes testing, and I don't think US English is your first language. So high stakes testing refers to kids that are trying to get into those big old Ivy League schools. Okay. My youngest daughter went to a school, my middle child. She went to a school that only 1 in every 3 applicants was accepted. We started building her resume, volunteer work, and all things she's done at 9th grade, because that's where she wanted to go to school. It was one of those schools that was hard to get into, and we started early. So that would be a one-time challenge, but not a all over challenge, right? High stakes testing is when you're trying to get your kid into like an Ivy League school or one of those schools that's hard to get into, right? That's high stakes. So that is definitely, high school was stressful because, we had to get that gold award for Girl Scouts. We had to like volunteer. We had to do whatever it took to build the resume to get in the high school stakes that she wanted to get into. Plus mama couldn't afford it. So we had to get some high scores. It was stressful. It was very stressful, but that's not an ongoing thing. Okay.
Let's see.
You want to phone a friend? Anybody else want to help her out? What else can we take out?
D, poverty.
I'm not taking out D.
I would say B, unchanging values.
Okay. Why?
I don't see how, if a value system hasn't changed, if it is a positive value system, how it's a challenge for a child.
It doesn't say positive or negative. It says unchanging. Aren't children's value systems always changing? They're kids, right? For the first, if you talk about Colbert, first couple of years, they don't want to get in trouble. But later on, they develop their own values. So that is not the biggest challenge. Okay? The answer is poverty. Now, somebody ruled that out. How come? It's the best of the 4. I don't know, right? So for children, a continuing challenge, right? Usually from the birth to 18, if I'm living in poverty, if I'm growing up in poverty, that affects everything, right? We talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Mom and dad aren't coming to my conferences if they're working 3 jobs. Okay. Am I getting the best nutrition when we're in poverty?
No.
Okay. Of the 4, that's the best answer. Now tell me how many of you were totally lost. Dr. Pam, you just made that stuff up.
Dr. Pam, I just answered with B. Just for clarification, you said B, unchanging values for children. Their value system is always changing based on stage and age, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, that's the note I want to write down. Thank you.
I know you don't remember, back then, but if anybody's raised kids, you know what? Their values change. My youngest child, I love her dearly, and she's probably the smartest of the 4. And I've got 3 highly, highly gifted kids. When she was about 10, 11, she wanted to be a geneticist because she wanted to tell people that they shouldn't have kids. Okay, being mom, like, okay, sure, whatever, because first of all, you can't tell people they shouldn't have kids. But she's like, Mama, some people just shouldn't have kids, right? Some people just shouldn't have kids. She's my one graduating. She's a double major in psychology and criminal justice, and she's going to go to an MSW program. She's 10 then, and now she's 21. Have things changed? God, I hope so, right? So that's not true. Okay, values always change. Have I lost you all? Tough question? I think so. I think it's very vague. And how do I figure out what they're asking me? So I think it's a really tough question. Okay. Chris, how are you?
Good.
Have you seen this question before?
I have not seen this question before.
Oh, come on down. You're the next contestant.
All right. The dramatic changes in the blank brain have the biggest implications for counselors.
What's the question asking me?
So we're looking for what stage, I guess, in our life do the biggest changes happen to our brain. It's going to have an impact on us as counselors.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Let's read all four.
So A, adult, B, toddler, C, adolescent, and D, older adult.
Okay. So remember, every question is measuring a KSA, a knowledge, skill, or ability. Okay. So in this question, particularly what I'm looking at is what are they measuring? And this is actually just normal human development, that's what it's asking. Okay. So anything I can rule out?
So I'm probably going to rule out A and D.
Are you saying that my brain stopped changing?
But
Is that what you're telling me?
finally fully develops when you're 25, right? Roughly.
Okay, absolutely.
So, um, I want to say B.
Now, can we process this a bit? Tell me about your
Yeah,
job.
yeah. I am a counselor. I work with kids and adults.
And what's the youngest kid that you work with?
Ever or now?
Most often.
Probably preteens mostly.
And you said the answer was B?
I think B.
You've had little toddlers walk in your office in their diaper and sit down and talk to you?
No.
I'm just saying that's what you picked, right? Does everybody see that? That's what you picked.
Yeah.
Do you see why C's the better answer?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. And yes, I was purposely trying to step up on your toes. Okay. So honestly, because I wanted to hurt you a little bit. Okay.
Right.
Most of you, so here's what happened. The brain does change the fastest at toddler. It does. It's growing. My schema's developing, assimilation, accommodation. I'm learning all these new things. Yes. But how many toddlers do we see, ladies and gentlemen?
Not as many.
I don't know. I haven't had any little people in diapers come in my office and say, my mama. You're not the only one that missed that. Anybody else want to be brave enough to admit? Yeah, 2 people raised their hand. 27 people out of the 26 struggled. As I understand, why? What you did is you didn't understand the question. You are absolutely right. The brain changes and grows the most rapidly when I'm a toddler. It does. But that don't answer my question. Does that make sense of why sometimes we're repeat offenders, guys?
Dr. Pam, is it
Yes.
is it because we don't count? I mean, the youngest age is like 5 or 6. Is that why?
Okay. Who's got a 2 or 3-year-old in the room? I got it. Okay. When you have a toddler, y'all sit down and have a conversation. Allison, how's that work for you?
Not very well.
Even play therapy usually doesn't start to 4 or 5, and that's not a toddler. I don't think insurance companies pay for me to do therapy with a 3-year-old. Anybody got paid for that? I don't think so. Okay. So it's a matter of understanding what the question is asking you. And here's what would have happened on the test. You would have read this question, you would have picked toddler and kept going. I don't know why I failed, Dr. Bell, I failed. Because you didn't read the question. Does that make sense? And these to me, I like paragraphs all day, every day. I know that a lot of you hate the paragraphs. You'd rather have the shorter ones. I love paragraphs. The more meat I have to work with, the more I have to process. Okay. Anybody else? Be honest, because I know a lot of you struggle with this one. I picked questions that I've used with other people that I know they struggle with. So I know a lot of you struggled with this. Someone fess up.
I like the long questions with a lot of information. I don't like the short ones.
I don't get a choice for the test though, right? I don't get a choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Jay Caesar, have we met?
Can I say something?
Jay Caesar?
Hey.
Hi, have we met?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I thought you might have said, of course, Dr. Pam, I've had 12 individual sessions with you. So welcome to group. How are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. This is actually one of my favorite classes to teach because we cover all areas. And I'm not trying to make you feel stupid. I just want you to be already aware of why you might be missing things, because there's not an equation between being a good test taker and being a good therapist. So are you I say repeat offenders, because if you've taken the test more than once, you offend me. So are you a first time or a repeat offender?
A first time.
Ah, what's your test date?
I haven't said it yet. I kept pushing it back depending on how well I studied. Mm-hmm. And I watched your videos and I decided to invest in myself to not be a repeat test taker. So as much time as I need to prepare. And when I feel comfortable and confident, I will set a test date.
Are you with one of our therapists, our coaches?
Yes, I just started with Jasmine.
Very good. I love Jasmine. Love her, love her, love her. So we're going to tell you when you're ready, because most of my clients will never say they're ready. They never feel like they know enough. You're always going to feel like I could learn one more. But usually after 90 days, you hate us, and we're not. You hate the test. You hate everything about the test. You hate the bell curve. You hate everything, and you want to puke. So we really try to keep it in that 90-day window, because I don't want you to hate us. And Jasmine's voice goes away the minute you pass. It's amazing like that.
I can't wait.
Jasmine lived in my city. So if you ever live in my city, tutoring happens at my house. I'm a really great cook. I love to cook. I love to entertain. So Jasmine lived in my city. So we tutored over dinner.
Wow.
And then she moved away. She wants to get a PhD. How dare she? What's she talking about? So at some point, I hope she needs to go on to bigger, better things. But yeah, that's how I met her. She was one of my people. And I always say on all videos, if you live in my city, I'll invite you to my house.
Very kind of you.
I love to cook, and I live with 2 dogs. So it's about me more than anything else. So, okay, we'll keep going. Everybody good with that? How we got there? Everybody see my question? So what I normally say to everyone on my videos, anytime you spend any time with me, I will say to you that when you started studying, somebody told you that the Purple Book was the best book to buy. And it truly was at the time. It really, really was. It was very much a recall question. What are Freud's stages? What happens in the oral stage? We don't get those anymore. Any of my repeat test takers, if you want to share, they're vague. I don't know what they're talking about. Sometimes I don't even see their name. So the goal is learning contents, taking your time studying content, and then being able to apply it to the question. That's our goal with all of the questions, but you have to know content. Okay. What is it's Quabla, right? Kabbalah. Your turn.
Me?
Pronounce it.
Kolbia.
Kolbia. I'm sorry. Kolbia.
It's okay. Okay. You meet with a group of young adults. Marlon, a young man, has an affect. Let me get rid of this. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, it was blocked. A young man has an affect that often does not match up with the content of the conversation. For example, he will often laugh when discussing serious issue or cry when expressing feeling of anger. Okay. So you meet with a group of young adults. Okay. So it's a group um, session, and there's a young man named Marlon. So his emotion does not match up with his expression. Yes. So when he will laugh when discussing serious issues and cry when expressing feeling of anger. So you should.
So stand my question. What is his affect? What is AFFECT?
Affect is how the
Ding, ding, ding. The look on my face that should match my mood.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously something wrong here, right? This ain't working for us. It's not matching. Okay. So what would I do?
Okay. So A, ask group members if any of them feel the same way as Marlon. B, ask Marlon if something is bothering him or if something is wrong. C, do nothing and wait for the other members of the group to pick up on the discrepancy. D, invite Marlon for an individual session to discuss his issues.
Okay.
Okay.
So Marla's in a group. It doesn't say what stage we're in, but I need to think it's not an early stage. Okay, because I've noticed it. So if it's an early stage, right, we're forming, it's orientation. I may not notice it yet, but I need to think on the question. Together for half a minute, right? Okay, so it's incongruent. It's not matching. Okay. So then let's read all four.
Do I repeat all four again?
So yes, no, I'm sorry. What can you rule out?
I'm going to rule out D, because you can do an individual session if you have a group.
Ding, ding, ding. If he's my client, I cannot see him outside the group session. He's my client. Everything is said inside of group. Always, always, always. Amen.
Okay. I saw another one. Do nothing and wait for other members of the group to pick up. C, a bit of C. And then I'll also get rid of B.
So what's my answer?
A.
I am not.
Oh, that's not the answer.
B is the answer. Does anybody know why? Come on, come on. Don't be scared. I can't bite you from this side. I'm going to yell at all of you tonight. So just go ahead.
I read the option wrong. Okay. See.
But I still don't think you know why.
No, I can explain. Option A, I got is it was saying that ask other group members if they notice Marlon. I thought it was okay.
I still don't think you know why, though. Does anybody know why I'm concerned when his affect. We're discussing a serious issue and he laughs. Why does that concern me?
Because
It's
it's
crazy.
something going.
I'm thinking, exactly. I'm thinking it's crazy. What's wrong with you? That's not normal. Oh, right? So, of course, it could be a defense mechanism. He could have reaction formation, reacting opposite than how he really feels. It's just not normal. If you've got a client sitting in front of you and she's telling you how awful her marriage is, you know, man, I just can't stand him. I know we have an awful relationship. We can't ever get along. Aren't the hairs on the back of your neck standing up? I'm a little concerned. That's not normal. And I don't want to say, yeah, I want to say that she's again, so when I say crazy, I say it purposely to step on toes to make sure you understand that I'm really concerned. That behavior is really off. It could be drug related. It could be a little bit of schizophrenia. It could be a defense mechanism. I don't know, but I need to ask some more questions because that's a bizarre behavior. Does that make sense of why that's the best answer?
Mm-hmm. If there was an option of pulling the member on a side and talk to them,
Nope.
no. Okay.
Dr. Pam, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So if we're not allowed to have that individual session because he's a client in the group and it has to stay that way. So there's really no way of us to kind of dive deeper into that effect with him personally on an individual level.
But I would refer him to somebody else if I really thought he had schizophrenia.
Okay. That makes sense.
Right. So remember, in a group setting, it's what matters, what's best for the entire group. Right. So, well, I noticed it. It may be that people haven't noticed it yet, but if it continues, this is going to pull from our group. Right. The whole group is my client. I can't see him individually because my whole group is my client, but I can refer him to somebody else. If I find he's so disruptive, I can terminate him from my group, but still refer him to somebody else.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
There's 1,000 group questions, Pam. Oh my God, there's so many group questions on the test. I just don't know what to do. This would be a group question. It has nothing to do with any of the stages, does it? And you spend years and years and years studying forming, norming, storming, and I've learned, right, orientation, transition. It's a reading test. That's the red flag that the test is trying to see that you measure. This is really strange behavior. We good?
No, Dr. Pam.
Uh-huh.
I would have chose C.
Because I can tell you for the test, that's very rarely the right answer.
Mm-hmm. But the reason why I would have chose it is because I felt like if I asked him if something was bothering him, and I know that other members can tell that something is wrong, when I asked him that question, then I would think that the other members would be saying that he's crazy. You know, they get all out of order and stuff, you know, stuff like that.
And they might. But the whole group is my client. The entire group is my client.
Okay.
So I've got to do what's best for the entire group.
Okay. I understand now.
Okay. Does that make sense? I have to do what's best for the entire group.
Okay.
Dr. Pam?
Uh-huh.
Is this because I was going with C as well, because if they're in the performing stage, other people are able to kind of chime in because you're kind of laid back in a sense where they're performing on their own. But is it C because this is now causing a discrepancy in your class and now you have to figure that out, if that makes sense?
I don't really know what's going on with this person at all. I don't know. Okay. I don't know, right? I have no clue. Let me ask. Let me figure out what's going on. If he's high, because that could be a reason, couldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we'll make decisions there. But at first, I just want to understand what's going on. What's going on with him?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Pam.
Okay. Again, I picked questions purposely that make you think. Okay, because many of you are used to, especially if you've been trying to use that Hellwig book, you get those very clear black or white answers, and you get to the test, and you're like, "What the heck?" That's and again, anybody that wants to has taken a test before that wants to share, but that's usually what I hear so much is, the questions aren't written the way that I've been studying. Anybody want to share on that? Collaborate, share. I'm making it up as I go along. What is it?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right, Dr. Pam. It's important to know the content because they are very, very vague.
And I don't even know if this one really, what it's measuring is your skills of group. Do you understand in a group setting, what would I do?
I have a question, Dr. Pam.
Yeah.
I am curious with like doing some of the practice tests, if it would be good for us to practice like connecting the content while we're working on the question, even by ourselves, connecting the content with the answers in the question.
Please do.
Okay.
And please understand why the ones you got wrong, because I really don't care if you get it right. And a lot of you will do test questions over and over, up and down, left and right, and you think you're improving because your score is coming up and you really haven't learned anything. So I don't think taking test questions is studying. And like we're doing today, I'll go over, and that's, again, that term is Socratic thinking. That belongs to Beck, right? I'm going to ask you why. Why is this the right answer? Prove it to me. How do you know? So if I'm using it that way as a learning tool, if you do pocket prep, don't do it on your phone. Put it on your computer. Same thing. Log the app in on your computer, because that way you're making concerted effort to sit down and go through questions. When we do it on our phone, it's like everything else we do. We're flipping through Instagram, we're flipping through Facebook, we're flipping through YouTube. We really aren't taking the time to sit down and understand the question. So don't do that. Take the time, sit down, read through the questions, and figure it out. Okay? I know, Dr. Pam, my teacher said, somebody said, everybody said, you've got to do pocket prep in the purple book. Oh my gosh. It ain't working for you, is it? I'm just saying. If it worked, you wouldn't be here. Okay, Ngozi? You know this one?
Okay, I will read this one, but I have no clue. Let me try. Not seeing everything. Okay. Which of the following management theories were based on the Hutton experiments of the late 1920s and early 1930s? A.
What is the Hawthorne theory?
I can't remember. I didn't even remember, but
okay, so hold on. Let's figure it out. Okay, can someone tell us what the Hawthorne theory is?
When you modify your behavior when no one is looking. When someone is looking.
When someone is looking.
Okay,
yeah.
so Annette, so I'm going to change my behavior when someone is watching. That's right. Everybody knows the day the boss is in the office, y'all gonna act better, right? You go your friend told you, somebody told you the boss is coming today. You put on some good clothes and lipstick. You showing up like you working. Oh, look at me. Okay, this question is in program management. It's in the very back of the Hellwig book after ethics, and most of us don't get to that. So this is program management, how I run my program. Okay, there's X and Y theory. The X theory is called classical management, and the Y theory is called view Mayo, or the human behavior, human relations theory. Now, you might not have seen X and Y on the test, but you've seen the verbiage, and most people see it and have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know of that of Sigmund Freud, but I will try here.
No, not Sigmund Freud. So hold
I
on, just
know.
stay with me. Stay with
This
me.
is
Stay with me.
Hilton.
Stay with me. Okay. So
Okay.
you see my screen? I'll put it in the chat box as well. So classical management style, how you run an office, and many of you work in offices that are run by classical management style. I'm in charge. Do what I say. Come in, do your job, put your widget in the widget hole. If you work for a insurance company, right? If you work Blue Cross Blue Shield in those insurance companies, you better be on the phone every 5 minutes when you're supposed to. And if you're not on the phone, you better explain why. Those are just the rules. Classical management. Do as you're supposed to do. Someone's always watching. The other one is the why theory. The why theory goes, yay, yay. The why theory is that the staff is supported by the management.
Okay.
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 The problem with the why theory is stuff don't get done. Y'all know y'all counselors just sitting together trying to change a policy, blah, 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 blah. It's 3 years later, you still ain't made a decision.
Okay.
So the why theory is very good for the staff, but it's not good for the community and for your clients. Okay. Does anybody recall seeing a question about Hawthorne, McGregor? Those are really common. We just sometimes miss them because we have no idea what they're talking about. Anybody seen any of those? There's usually on there. You just don't know. Do you know summative and formative, that theory?
I don't know much about. Yeah.
So summative and again, Hellwig in the back of the book, okay? Summative is the summary. It's about your program. Somebody asks you, hey, you did a great job with this grant you guys got. I want to do what you did. I give them the summative. The formative is while you're writing your goals for the agency, but then you figure out they're not working. While it's forming, you can go back and change it. Okay, summative and formative. So my answer to this one, contingency approach. Hold on.
It should be C.
It is not C.
Contingency approach.
That's not my answer. I taught this to somebody this week. Anybody in the script that I taught that to? The contingency approach is the backup plan. It's a behavior term. If I work in an agency that has like a token economy where kids have to get points to do something, the contingency plan is what happens if they don't get the points? What happens if it doesn't work? You all have that if you worked in any kind of behavioral approach. You just didn't know what it was called. That's the contingency, the backup plan. Okay.
Okay.
So my answer is going to be classical, which is going to be my X theory.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Now that's, again, this is one of the ones. So these are things that I teach you when you already learn a lot. So an individual, once you learn like all of my little stuff, I can go out and teach you bigger stuff. This is something I don't teach normally because those are the points that are, it's still points, but if you're struggling with the theories, I don't go here. Does everybody understand though why this is the right answer? Ask me questions.
I'm kind of lost. Can you explain the classical?
That is the X. The X theory is that everybody does what they're supposed to do. The Hawthorne effect came in because of when people were, it started with people working on, let's go back. So it was Parsons. Hey, 1 second. Okay, so when Parsons came around, remember Parsons, everybody was starting the industrial movement. They were leaving the fields and coming into the cities and having jobs. That's where Parsons started his trait and factor, right? Knowing your trait, knowing the factors, and these two things should match up. So once we started building industries, what we found out is that if the supervisor was on the floor, if we're putting parts and pieces together, right? We're building washing machines, we're building cars, whatever we're building. If the manager was on the floor, then things got done. So the Hawthorne effect is we do better when we're being watched, and it's based on X, classical management. The boss is in charge. No questions asked. We smile, we nod, you're just a number. Okay? Just the fact. Just the fact.
Dr. Pam?
Yes.
Hi. So in terms of, so I guess if we were sitting there and this were to be an actual question on the exam, the way that you're explaining it, in terms of content, so you're saying if we knew what the Hawthorne experiments were, and we knew that that was that classical conditioning, that should have given the answer away to us.
Because it's a reading test. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's giving you the clues. Okay. So most of you know what the Hawthorne effect is, right? I do, but different when people are watching me, right? When my boss is watching me. This was a matter of knowing which theory that came from. And it came from the X or classical management style. Okay. And then I went over summative and formative. Again, I only teach to the test. If there's any question that's going to be on the test, I'll share it with you. If it's not, I'm not going to say anything. Okay. Does that make sense of where the Hawthorne effect came from? Will you understand it when you see that in the test, that's where it came from? Okay. When COVID hit and your boss called you every 15 minutes, that was the Hawthorne effect, right? Because, you know, you're supposed to be working at home and nobody trusts you working at home, blah, 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 right? I didn't post any pictures when I was traveling, when I was working from home. People posted pictures. How stupid can you be? Go ahead.
It's like when your supervisor is micromanaging you. It happens all the time to me.
That's called the Hawthorne effect. That is the X management style. They're all up in your crawl all the time.
Okay.
Is the humanitarian. That's good for staff, but not good for your agency.
And she is the Y, the male. She's not doing anything.
Okay, so that's not fair. So the Y is she supports the staff. It sounds like that she has more of a laissez-faire leadership style where she doesn't do anything. Is that fair? Is that better to say?
Yes.
Okay, so because if she were Y, she'd support you. You and your staff with your coworkers would come up with a plan and she would support that plan. Okay. I use questions from everywhere because I know you haven't seen them before. So this is a social work question, but the content is still the same. Annette, this is yours. I don't hear you.
I'm sorry. Okay. A social worker is meeting with a woman and her 2 elementary age children for family therapy. The woman's husband, who is also the children's father, died suddenly the month before. Which of the following techniques might be helpful to use in therapy as a way for the children to express their feelings towards their deceased father? So what the question is saying, A mother come in with her 2 children for family therapy because that she needs help because their father just suddenly died unexpectedly. So which of the tools will be helpful for them to express their feelings towards their deceased father? So A, strategic alliances.
Alliances.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to stay there. Strategic therapy is Jay Haley. He talks about the double bind. He talks about the paradoxical approach.
Yes.
Strategic doesn't have alliances. Structural family has alliances.
Okay.
Enmeshed, disengaged, those are the boundaries that belong to structural family therapy. Strategic is how we communicate to each other, right? So
right.
Strategic family therapy doesn't have alliances. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I'm gonna remove that one.
Okay, keep reading.
Family structuring.
Sculpting.
I'm gonna remove that.
No, you're not, because you don't know what it means.
That means when it's like okay, you got a family and you put it in different sections. If I can't really explain it. But
Well, this ain't the Miss America contest. So that's what happens. Is like she repeats the question and then she's like, oh, baby, what this means? No. And it ain't grad school where you get to write an essay on it either. So let me just teach you what family sculpting is.
Okay.
So what happens is in sculpting, I'm looking at the alliances in the family. Okay. Who is close to who? Okay.
Oh, okay.
If I ask the dad or the mom or the child to kind of tell me what's happening, that term is called family sculpting.
Okay.
It's a strategic family term because I'm looking at the alliances, right? I'm not alliances, the relationships of who talks to who in the family. Remember, family in the family in reenactment, that belongs to structural family therapy, right? I'm asking you to reenact what happened last night.
Okay. That's right.
That is sculpting. Okay. So you can take that out now that you know what it is.
Yes, I can take that out. Okay. A genogram.
You're going back to the question and comparing the two of each other. When you get down to 2, if the rules stay exactly the same, compare the 2, go back to the question. Which can I prove?
Okay. The one that I can prove is the empty chair technique. Because the genogram is bowing, right?
And Bowen, what words belong to Bowen?
Triangulation.
Yes. Differentiation of self, right? Emotional fusion. Though that's his verbiage. Very good. I've been doing some stuff since we met. Yes.
Watching your videos.
Yes. Okay. Anybody? The empty chair technique belongs to who?
The empty chair
Gestalt.
belongs
Gestalt. And why is the empty chair the best answer? Fritz Perls, the author. The empty chair technique belongs to the gold Gestalt, means to be a whole person. Why is this the best therapy? What words in the question prove it to me?
It's for unfinished business.
Yes.
Okay. What words in the question prove it to me? You're right. Remember, it's a reading.
Express their feelings.
Express toward
He
toward
died
the deceased.
suddenly a month ago. Did they have time to say goodbye to him?
No.
Did they have time to process those feelings?
No.
Absolutely. That's why the empty chair technique is the best answer. The empty chair technique is full of feelings. He makes you sit there. He's very directive and get those feelings out. You spend weeks and weeks and weeks in the empty chair and a couple of sessions being whole. Everybody says here and now, but that's really not the crux of the therapy. The crux of the therapy is getting rid of the unfinished business. Very good job. You see, if you're right, you're right. When I go back to the question, I just want to prove it. What words in the question prove it to me? That's the piece that most people are missing. You get down to the test, there's 4 choices, and you're trying to just go back and forth through the choices instead of going back to the question. Does that make sense? Well, yes, Dr. Pam, it does. Well, thank you.
Yes, it does.
You want to ask me something about that? My people that are studying and taking the test. So unfortunately, this is what the questions feel like. They're never as easy as you would think. And if am I correct, my repeat people? It's never that simple. You've got to figure it out. Hold on. Stacy. Your hand was up. Does that mean you want this next question? What's your ask me.
The social worker providing family therapy.
Now, honestly, I wasn't going to give you this next question. You had your hand up. Did you want to ask me something? I swear I wasn't trying to pick on you. Really wasn't.
No, I can take the question.
Okay.
A social worker providing family therapy has to meet one member of the family alone in order to help that person change, and this will hopefully affect the entire family system.
So do we ever see families alone? I mean, the whole family is my client, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna take that word out. Okay. So I don't ever see a family alone, a family member alone, right? We don't believe in IP. We don't believe in identified patient. The whole family is the problem. We believe in circular questioning. We're going to ask everybody in the family the same question. We believe in circular causality, right? The problem happened not because this happened, but because the whole family did something. Okay. So now, keep going. Did I lose you? Not sure if I lost you or not. Okay, I'll tell you that the term I changed it. So what I'm looking for is when it's a structural family term, what I was looking for is joining. Remember, he joins the family first. He uses the word mimesis to mock the family's behavior, and not in a bad way, right? But to try to, if they have bad manners, I'm going to have bad manners. I'm trying to blend in with the family. Remember, this is a structural family question. It doesn't say that, but structural family therapy is trying to rock your homeostasis. Is our homeostasis good with the families we work with?
No.
Is your homeostasis good? If you eat ice cream every night before you go to bed, is that good?
No.
That's your routine, but it's not good. Okay. So homeostasis is their norm. So words that I'm looking for that belong to structural, remember this is Mnuchin. He joins the family. He's trying to build an alliance, a relationship with one of the family members because most often they're enmeshed or disengaged. Okay, makes sense? Okay. Just trying to pick up verbiage that so you know what it looks like in a question.
Yeah, I got sidetracked there. My headphones was giving me issues. I'm sorry about that.
It's quite all right. I don't think anyone in the group mattered. I think they were just so happy that you stepped up and took the question. I think they're like, oh, great. One second, I'm just going to a different source. So every source asks questions differently. And I don't want you to ever get used to that one source, because if it uses the word differently, then you get lost. We're good, guys. Is there something that you want to ask me? This is really the night where it's just open conversation. You get to ask me anything. There's no specific topic I'm covering. I'm just helping you understand how I figure out what it is.
I have a question, Dr. Pam.
Uh-huh.
So I'm noticing, I actually started my first session with you last week. And I'm noticing that a couple different resources, like in the Hellwig book and then online, that Erik Erikson's stages, like the ages are a little different depending on what.
Yes,
so is that okay for the test, as long as you have an approximate?
What I want you to, what's more important is what happens in the stage.
Oh, okay.
Don't necessarily go by the age, because Erikson said you have an identity crisis. What age is that? Anybody? Identity versus
18.
Identity versus role confusion. Absolutely. So identity crisis is when I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. He calls it college, by the way. So he says, people stay in college forever. So in the beginning, I want to blend in and be like everybody else. But now, as I am supposed to be finishing that stage, I can't, because I don't know who I am. So the identity crisis happens in that stage. So don't always assume that the ages and the stages match. I do need to have an idea, and I'll pull up some Erikson questions so we can go over that, but don't assume it always matches.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, let's see here. This is you, Amanda. You ready? Amanda, have you seen this question before?
No, I haven't.
Go for it.
Okay, Joseph Wolpe, I think that's how you say it. Joseph
Yep.
Wolpe created systematic desensitization, a form of reciprocal inhibition based on counter conditioning. His strategy has been used in individual and group settings. When using his technique, the acronym SUDS stands for. And
Stay in my question. What does that even mean?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to find out what SUD stands for, but
Okay, so let's stay in the question though before I get there. So let's stay in the question. Okay, so what do you know about desensitization?
Well, I mean, if you're desensitizing someone, then you're like getting them where something doesn't bother them as much.
Ding, ding, ding. So he uses it for phobias.
Okay.
Phobias are irrational fears. Okay. So the most common one I always teach has to do with spiders, but in real life, the one time I've used it, it's from someone who needed to get on an airplane. Their son was getting married outside the country, and they sorry, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. Okay. So I have a huge phobia. I have a huge phobia. And when I put in phobias, this picture came up, and now it's going to take me a half minute to get over it. Okay. I cannot stand that. The picture of like concentric circles. I cannot.
Oh.
So normally I don't show this because I hate to look at it. But since it popped up, I thought I'd share with you my phobia.
A phobia.
Okay? Yes, I truly have it. I cannot stand that look. Oh,
you have the same phobia, Dr. Pam.
Okay.
Me too, Dr. Pam. Take it off.
When the iPhone 3 or the one with the 3 cameras first came out, My daughter would say, Mom, it's on TV, because I cannot look at that. Okay. So I delete that from my cookies, delete that from everything. And I don't know why that came up. Okay. So anyway, that's my fear. Okay. So let's go back to systematic desensitization. Oh my God. I can't believe that came up. I'm going to be like freaked out tonight. I am, I swear. You know, when you can't unsee it.
So when it says a form of reciprocal inhibition, what does that mean?
I'm going to teach it to you. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the goal of Joseph Wolpe is to help people get rid of their irrational fears. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we are going to help the person come up with the, first of all, let's talk about what the fear is, right? We're going to deal with the fear. We all realize it's irrational, but it's something that, again, this guy had to fly as his kid was getting married. He needed to get there. So we're first going to teach you relaxation techniques. We're going to teach you how to take deep breaths. We're going to teach you how to go to your happy place, whatever you want to use that helps the client relax. Okay, that's our first choice. So relaxation training. Reciprocal inhibition says it's not possible for me to be both relaxed and stressed. My body just can't do that. Okay, so the first process is to teach you to relax. Then we're going to come up with your hierarchy. There should be between 8 to 10 things on your list to get you there. Okay, so if the bottom line is I need to ride an airplane, I need to be in a room full of spiders, whatever it is, that's the last one. So we're going to go through all of the steps. So we're going to look at a spider. When you look at a spider, when your anxiety goes up, then we're going to go back to your happy place, which I'm going to give later on tonight, which is probably going to include a bottle of wine because I saw that picture, just so you know. Okay, so that's all I got. So then reciprocal inhibition is I start with my least fear, right? And then you teach me how to relax. We go to the next step. You teach me how to relax. The next step, you teach me how to relax. So this is called my hierarchy of fears. And there's another word for that, which is in the question. The goal is eventually, slowly, I will get over my irrational fear. Okay. Now, the other ways that we talk about it is we talk about flooding. What's that one? Anybody?
I think when you put some, go ahead.
When you put a lot of spiders in the room with someone.
Okay, all at the same time, right? So flooding is at the same time. Instead of doing it slowly, I'm going to just do it all at the same time. And then implosion is the other term. Implosion means what?
When you're imagining that you have a whole lot of dogs over you while you eat, if you're scared of dogs.
I'm sorry, who are you and what happened to my real student? Because you know some stuff. You did not know this stuff when we met. Were you cloned? Like, what happened? You're absolutely right. So I like this picture. So this is my flooding, right? You see the 3 small spiders in the room. Okay. Then you see that big old spider leg. That's flooding. All at the same time. The way that I remember that is when my kids were in swim lessons, they could swim and it wasn't me and they're all still alive. The lifeguard would just push them in. They're afraid again. They could swim. I swear. I went to the Y, 3 kids. They're all alive, not me. I think time has elapsed. You can report me, just so you know. Okay. So anyway, that's flooding. And like she said, implosion is then imagine again. Close your eyes and imagine that, you're in a room full of spiders. Okay. Now I teach you all that. And now we're going to go back to the question. Okay. So based on what I said, let's see if you can figure it out. Read all four and rule out.
All right. So A, standard unit of dysfunction. B, a given hierarchy of dysfunction. C, subjective units of disturbance scale. D, standard units of distress scale. So the first one that I feel like I can eliminate is a given hierarchy of dysfunction. Standard units of dysfunction scale. Distress scale. Well, subjective is like how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think I would get rid of one of the ones that says standard. I don't know.
Come on, because you're going to get lots of questions that you have no idea. So that's what we're learning is how do we figure it out, right? There's no way that anybody can teach you everything on the test, okay? But you're right on target. Is this objective units of distress, or is it just my opinion?
It's my opinion.
So then that makes it.
I feel like I can eliminate A.
Okay.
And the next one, I would eliminate probably, I say B because a given hierarchy, given is the word that stands out to me because there was a hierarchy of really distress, I guess, not dysfunction, but, and so that leaves C and D. Let's see, subjective units of disturbance scale or standard units. So I would go with C because it's a subjective units of disturbance scale. But that distress word in D, I wanted to go with that because it's a distress. But so C is my answer.
C is your answer. It's just your opinion. You came up with the list with your therapist. Okay. So just because I don't know if I know enough about the theory, I can figure it out. Okay. There are going to be tons and tons of questions you don't know. And please don't just mark C. Don't. That's what I heard somebody say. Go back to the question. Spend your time in the question. Spend your time going over the theory. Now, I know I watched Dr. Pam's video on that. I watched it 12 times. I know I remember this. Stay there. Stay there. Stay in the concept that you're doing. You'll figure it out. I promise you. Okay, did that make sense, guys? Did we see how we got there? Yes, no, Dr. Pam, you're making it up as you go along. Help me out.
That one was hard. That one was hard.
Okay. What part did you not know that made it hard?
Well, I guess not knowing the different options. Once you explain it, yeah, but I did not know what none of these means.
Okay. So, but again, going back to the theory, because you're always going to find things you don't know. Always, 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 always. I don't want to try to teach you everything. Our goal is to teach you what you know really, 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 really well. If you get the big things well, you'll know, no way, no how, that's the answer. Because you know the big stuff, you know the important stuff. And that's our goal of teaching. That works really well. Those of you that are trying to learn everything in the purple book by reading the book over and over and answer questions, it ain't working for you. Okay, let that go, and really focus on the important things. What I say is we like the Hellwig book. Watch my videos. If you don't hear me mention it, if you don't see it in the Hellwig book, it's not important. I'm not saying it's not a test question. I'm just going to tell you, it's not important enough for you to dive in deeply to that. I don't need you to score 135. And we do have clients that have 135. Oh my God, I want to choke them. I do. You know why? Because it blows off the average for everybody. It does. I do not. The highest, so remember, the highest you can get is 160. It's written so you can't get a perfect score. So in the years I've been doing this, our stats have said 148 is probably a perfect score. That's probably as close as you could get. I do not need you scoring 137. Do you know what that does to the norm? It pushes it up for everybody. Okay, go be your excellent self someplace else, not on my test. Because it's not fair to everybody else. Just get a passing score and be happy. I've had quite a few. I've probably had 20 people that have gotten almost close to perfect. So that don't work out well for us. We don't like that. We don't like that. Your license doesn't come with a big old star on it because you got a perfect score. Please don't do that. Okay, Alberta, this is yours.
Which of the following will be an example of negative reinforcement?
Okay,
so which one of these is an example of negative reinforcement?
It's a Skinner question, right? Skinner talked about positive and negative reinforcement. Skinner is our behaviorist. Every behaviorist says, I can change your behavior with rewards and consequences. Skinner said punishment is the last choice. Okay?
Yes. A, removing a scary picture. B, removing a pleasant music. C, adding a scary picture. Or D, removing a pleasant dessert.
So tell me how we're processing this. What's your thoughts?
I struggle with these, with the negative and positive reinforcement when you have to add and remove stuff. To be honest, I really struggle in that area.
You and everybody else in the group. They're just glad you got the question.
Yeah, I'm glad I got it too.
Anybody want to help her out?
Well, I remember reinforcement. I always think it's not punishment. So reinforcement is going to be something good.
We don't use good or bad.
Or, well, something
positive?
Yeah, positive.
Okay, so let's go back.
Adding
Reinforcement means I like the behavior.
Like the behavior.
I like the behavior, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So my people that are married in the room, you've got a spouse, significant other. After the test is done, you go up and the dishes are done, dinner is made, floor is vacuumed, the sheets are perfect, the bath water is run. Ooh, you like that, don't you? Yes, right? You like that. You want it to happen again. You're going to reinforce that behavior. You're either going to add something or take away something. What would you add to make sure that happens again?
Something positive, something pleasant.
Girl, you better something that comes upstairs. Go upstairs, take that person and give them something. You want that to happen again? You better reinforce that behavior by adding something. Okay. Negative reinforcement would be, honey, wow, thanks. You made dinner, you do this stuff. You know what? I'll walk the dogs tonight. I'm taking away something that my spouse didn't want to do anyway. Okay. Remember, it's not good or bad. There's no good or bad ever in counseling. There's no good or bad. It's either adding or taking away. I add or take away something. So in this one, if it's reinforcement, I liked the behavior, didn't I? Oh, I like that. Woo, do it again. So negative means I'm removing something because I want it to happen again. So
it'll be A. A.
You tell me. So it's got to be A or B, right?
Well, yeah, I was going to say I'm removing D and C, so it's between A and B.
Okay, if I like the behavior, I wouldn't remove a dessert, would I?
No.
That's punishment.
Yeah.
Adding a scary movie is a positive. I added something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now between A and B, which of these reinforces the behavior by taking something away?
A.
A. I said A. Yeah.
B would be a punishment, right? If I took away something you like, the assumption is it's pleasant music. So A is my best answer.
Yeah.
Very good. Everybody see how we got there? Everybody struggles with this because it goes against everything that we've ever thought to be true. And they do. Everybody struggles. And if you don't keep doing this, you need to relearn what you thought of behavior. When my mother spanked me, that was a positive punishment. She added something. Okay, we've got videos out there over and over and over and over again, because if you don't use it, I promise you, you will lose this and you'll get to the test and have no idea. And my repeat offenders, there's usually at least 3 or 4 of these questions on there. I've got to know this theory. This is Skinner. Okay. Again, my people have taken. Go ahead.
I have a question. When it comes to reinforcement, is basically like negative or positive reinforcement. It's something that is gonna be good.
There's no good or bad.
So how can I tell like the difference between negative reinforcement?
So let me show you.
Okay.
Everybody struggles with this. Everybody struggles with this. Okay, so find one that I don't always use. This is operant conditioning. And remember, in general, it's Skinner, but operant conditioning, any behaviors, we do not care how you feel. We could care less about how you feel, how you think. We just want to change your behavior with rewards or consequences. If I like the behavior, I'm going to reward it. If I don't like it, I'm going to punish it. Okay, so let's just kind of look at some of those. Okay, on my screen, I'll put it in your chat box as well. I want you just to kind of understand the choices, okay? And I try to avoid using the same questions. If you watch my videos, sometimes I'll see the same questions. So I'm try to avoid using the same ones. Okay, if I like the behavior, I reward it by adding or taking away something. If I don't like the behavior, I punish it by adding or taking away something, correct? If I drive to work tomorrow, okay, not tomorrow, Monday, and I'm going, 80 miles an hour, and I get pulled over, does the policeman like my behavior? Is he going to reward it, or is he going to punish it?
Punish.
Got it. He can add or take away something. What can he add to stop my behavior? What can he give me? A ticket. A ticket. Very good. What can he take away to stop my behavior?
My driver's license.
Okay. That's how we need to use it. We do this all day, every day. Anybody got some kids y'all raised? Okay, y'all know you bought the PlayStation, so you had something to take away, right? That's why you buy electronics, so you can take them away. The kids think we love them, but that's not really true. We just, right? The little kid I was acting up, and you want to punish him. What can you add as punishment?
Chores.
Chores, yes. What else?
Agent had declined her last meal on death row.
Some of y'all just don't want to say it, a little smack across the face. I know. None of you. Oh, that was my other group. None of you people. None of you. Other people. Right? That's a positive punishment still. The look, right? Just the look. Sometimes that's all my kids needed was the look. Right? The lecture. All those things are added. Okay. So that's what I would do to punish the behavior by adding something.
I have a question.
Now, yes.
Would a timeout be adding or taking something away? Because I'm taking away the electronic, but I'm adding the timeout.
Okay, so that's not true. So what I need to remember is not how you use timeout, but how timeout was originally meant.
Okay.
It was originally meant for children who were ADHD by removing them from the fun. Okay, go sit in your corner for 5 minutes and that way you cannot be in any of the fun. So it was meant to be a negative punishment. Okay. So don't, and all of you always remember, it's not about what you think timeout is. It's about what the definition of timeout is. Okay. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's add some questions here. Have we learned a thing or two?
Yeah.
A 3 or 4 or 5 or 6?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh.
Dr. Pam, do you have any questions related to the Johari window?
I can find one, but I'd rather have someone explain it to you who knows what it is. Stay with me though. I'm gonna do a couple of these questions, okay? Stop my screen. Did everybody see this one?
Yes.
Okay. Who wants this one?
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Am I sharing? You see it?
Oh, I don't see it, Doctor. Is it the police?
It is.
We
It
can't
is.
see
Okay.
the answers.
There's
Yeah.
not. So there's, I gave you positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive, negative reinforcement. I put it in your chat box.
Okay, I see it here. Okay, the police stops drivers and give awards for safe driving. This is blank conditioning. This would be positive reinforcement.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. When we see this, we're always going to look at the behavior first. And the behavior is, right? They stopped the drivers for doing the right thing and they reinforce that behavior. Okay, somebody else?
I'll take this one.
Thank you.
A suspect confesses to a crime which ends the interrogation. This is, I say, negative reinforcement.
Tell me why.
Because the behavior is that they're confessing and removing that is unpleasant, the interrogation piece.
Hold on. Did I say anything about good or bad or unpleasant or anything? The behavior is that he confesses to the crime. Will he do that again? He will. He will confess to a crime again. So that's reinforcement. Now, why did he confess?
So they can stop.
They can stop the interrogating.
Interrogation.
So we stopped. The behavior was stopped, right? He confessed. So he'll confess again. So it's a reinforcement. And then what was added or what was taken away?
They removed the interrogation.
Ding, ding, ding. So this is then
Negative reinforcement.
It is. It is. It don't sound good though, does it? Johari window. Would somebody like to teach the Johari window? The best way to learn is to teach.
I don't know if I'll fully say it the right way, but I think this is one that we went over last night. But it is kind of like what we're viewing here with the positive reinforcement, but it's looking at what you know about yourself, what others know about you, the unknown about yourself, and what others the unknown for others about you. I think that's
So
right.
there are four quadrants, right? And the goal of the Johari window is to increase your knowledge, right? The more I know about myself. And they're always going to be in the exact same place. So the left one is what? The left rear? You're right. You're exactly on the right page. Don't stop. So the left, you were right.
You're muted.
Oh, am I? Oh, I'm not muted. She's
Sorry
muted.
about that.
Okay, so I'm not muted. I'm talking. I hear.
Sorry, I thought I was answering the question. Thank y'all for
Okay.
letting me know I was muted.
Okay, so
so the known or the open is that first quadrant.
Got it. Left rear. Yes.
And then the next quadrant over is going to be the unknown for yourself, like what you don't see.
Okay.
And then if you go straight below that one, then you have the what's unknown to others. And then as you move back over to where you're under the open is what others see about you.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Everybody see how we got what does that make sense? The goal is to make the left side smaller, right? I'm sorry, the right side smaller. The more I know about myself, then the larger, the smaller my blind spot, the smaller my blind spot gets. Well, that out. Okay. So if I know more about myself and I know through the blind spot by somebody tells me, or I just learn in general something that I didn't know, that's my unknown self. So then my right quadrants will get smaller. They have to go someplace, so they're going to go to the left quadrant. So I can keep it to myself or I can share it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. If I come
Dr.
across
Pam?
one, I'll share one, but those are usually not vague. Those are usually black and white. That's just a recall question. I've not seen a question where you have to apply those. Yes, go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Could you show us a question that would involve this? But you just answered it.
It's usually really very, very upfront because it'll say what's in the left quadrant, what's in the right quadrant. So usually not not an application question. So again, those who have taken the test before, you'll find that there are just recall questions, right? There's some that you just need to know and you don't know. So those are just content. So what I really try to teach you tonight is not necessarily content, but how to answer the questions. Because many times we think that we know the theorist, we're like so excited because we think we know it, and we get there and maybe we really just don't know it. Okay. Okie dokie, let's keep going. I left off with, let's see here, Terry P. I think this is you.
Okay, according to Freud, people struggle to find a balance. So
Have you seen my question before?
No. So we're trying to find out,
Okay, so
people struggling to find a balance.
Okay, so hold on. So when I get those one lines, right, I'm going to stay in Freud. I'm going to think about everything I've ever known about Freud. So tell me some things that you know about Freud.
The defense mechanisms.
Okay.
Well, I hate to say orphan Annie, pretty little girls. So I know that
sex,
one.
baby. That's always
Yeah.
Freud, right? He's the only person that ever talks about sex. Okay.
Yeah.
So Freud said that everything is in the unconscious And our goal is to bring things from the unconscious to the conscious. He used the transaction, the TAT, right? It's the black and white couple, and you have pictures, you have to tell what's going on. He used the Rorschach, the ink blot, all of those things, because his theory says everything is unconscious. So now my goal of this question is, when I get the one lines, guys, what I want to do is, if I look at any of the answers, I want to go through my mind, have flashbacks about Freud. I want to think about Freud before I look at any of the answers. All of you just want to get to the answers, and it ain't working for us. One line, right? Freud, right? He likes sex. He said, everything's on the unconscious. Okay. So now that I've got my mind on Freud, I can read all four.
A, between neurotic and psychotic defense mechanisms. B, between self-expressions and the expectations of authority figures. C, between
Adipal,
and
the O is silent, so it's the Adipal complex.
And electra complexes, or D, between sexual drives and social acceptable behavior. So I'm going to take out B.
Because?
Well,
you're right. B. Just tell me why. Oh, I'm sorry. Tell me why. You meant that B. I'm sorry. I was confused about what B you meant.
Because I don't think that has anything to do with Freud.
Okay.
I'm going to take out A.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick between C and D. So I'm going to pick C for the answer.
So I'm still asking you because, right?
And I really don't know how to explain it, but I know it has to do with Freud, and I know that
they both have to do with Freud.
Well, yeah, they both do. I just know that it's normally a struggle between those two. The Electra is when the girl is in love with her father. Is that it?
Okay. So the Electra stage, yes, the girl is in love with her father, and she has penis envy. She's waiting. She's hoping that she has a penis like her dad. The boy has the Oedipus contract, and he is in love with his father. He's in love with his mother. He's afraid that his father will find out. If the father finds out, what will he do?
Castrate him.
Castrate him.
How does the stage end? So remember, Freud talked about we get fixated, we get stuck in a stage. How does the stage end well in that stage? What happens if I get through that stage appropriately?
The child needs to be with the same-sex parent in order.
Identification. That's
identification.
The word. Yes, that's it. Oh, girl, look at you. Learn some stuff. Oh my gosh. It's watching my babies grow up. It's like we spent time together, and you studied, and you know some things, and I just okay. So anyway, yes, okay. So identification, that's the word I'm looking for in the test, right? Because remember, verbiage matters. So identification is the stage. What does D say? Sexual drives and socially appropriate behavior. What's that mean?
It's the id and the super ego, because your id says, like, you should have like sex with everybody and like this, and then super ego.
That's the real struggle. So the Oedipus and the electric complexes, that's a stage I'll go through. But the biggest issue for Freud is that my id wants what it wants, and it wants it now. And my super ego won't let me. I want it. Gabriel says, no, yes, no, yes, no. Our ego keeps those things in check. Okay. So some of us are id, pleasure principle. Sometimes my superego has to work harder than others because my id just wants to. Okay, so that's what it says. And I think, again, that's a typical question that's vague. If it said id and superego, you would have gotten it. But they didn't write it like that. And they're not going to either. So if you see questions that say id and superego that are that simple, no, sorry. And again, my repeat test takers, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I depend on you to keep me on the straight path. So these questions feel similar?
Yeah, they're definitely not clear in CPCE exam. They would not mention id, ego, or superego.
NCE either. Okay, questions? You want to process with me a bit? Because I've been hard on you today, guys. These were hard questions, right, Dr. Pam? You were supposed to be nice. I know, all up in your stuff today, aren't you? You signed up for this one. You want to ask me anything? I don't mind explaining. I want to make sure you understand how we get there, and especially these one-line questions, because they will kick your butt. Either you know them or you don't. Because I always say that our chapters 3 and 4 therapists, we're going to find so many questions. We're always going to spend more time in there. Okay. So this is your Jessica.
Did you say Jessica?
I did.
Okay, hi.
How are you? Are your glasses purple, lavender?
Are my glasses?
Yeah.
They're the blue light glasses.
The frames.
Oh,
Are they
no,
like,
they're like a brown, but they kind of do look a little purple.
Yeah, they're nice. That's all. They're cool. That's all I was going to say. Go ahead.
Thank you. All right, so all of the following statements are true of solution-focused brief therapy except. So what it's asking me is, what we have to think about is what is solution-focused therapy, right?
Got it.
So
what words come to mind?
So it would be like here and now.
Nope. Nope.
Like what's happening like in the present.
Give me more.
Kind of like we're not worried about like things that happened in the past. We want to know like that accept question.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So very careful about here and now, because that's usually going to belong to Gestalt. So we don't want to learn that verbiage with this theorist. So solution focus is the miracle question. You woke up tomorrow and the miracle happened. It's going to be the accept question. When is the problem not a problem? And of course, the scaling technique. Okay. So now with a question, that's an accept question. Always, everybody hates these. We're going to follow up with what is going right. I'm sorry, what is right? We're ruling out the things that I know for sure to be true. Okay.
So an accept question. So solution-focused therapists would view actualization as a viable treatment goal. A solution-focused therapist would agree that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Solution-focused therapists use the miracle question to determine treatment goals. Or a solution-focused therapist believes that clients have resources within themselves to find solutions. Okay. All the following statements are true of solution-focused. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of C.
You're ruling out the true ones. Okay.
So I'll rule out C because that is one. Clients have resources within themselves to find solutions. I don't think it's D because I want to say clients have resources within themselves. Is that Carl Rogers?
So if we're not sure, let's hold on to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Therapists would view actualization as a viable treatment goal. I'm going to remove B.
So now I'm between A and D. So now when I get to 2, One of these is true, and one of these is the answer.
Okay. So I'm like stuck between A and D because I know that clients have the resources within themselves, and like that you would say, if like don't change a behavior or don't stop doing something if it's not working for you, type of thing, right?
Okay.
But
so keep talking to me. What else do we know about solution focused?
Like if you could wake up tomorrow, what would be different? What would it be?
I'm looking for, remember, it's the only one that doesn't follow the medical model. The medical model says you go into the doctor says what's wrong, and you focus on fixing it, right? Solution focus doesn't do that. It doesn't focus on what's wrong. It's focus on what's right. So if I come in and say, oh my gosh, this is what's going on, he's going to say to me, Pam, so when is the time that you weren't depressed, right? So if you woke up in the morning and depression went away, that's the miracle question. Okay.
So finding that within themselves, right?
I don't know. You tell me.
Okay.
You want to phone a friend?
Yeah, because I'm not confident. I want to say remove A, go D, but I don't know.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
Yeah, I would say
What
remove A as well.
Yeah.
I was
A
thinking.
No, A is the answer.
Saying A is the answer.
I think D is the answer.
No, it's A.
No, A. I want to remove A.
Hold on. Okay. Somebody said, who said A is the answer?
I did.
I did.
Allison, tell me why.
I think that A is the answer because solution focused, the brief therapy is short, and someone coming to actualization seems like that would be a long goal. And some people don't even fully get actualized in their life.
Can you think of another therapist that uses that verbiage?
Maslow.
He's not a therapist.
Oh yeah, he's not a therapist.
I ask you which therapist would use that?
Rogers.
Yes. Oh, who said that? Yes. Yes. The goal of Carl Rogers, he says nothing at all, ever. He he nods and he smiles, but the goal is to be the very best you can be. So that's a Carl Rogers answer. So that's my not answer because it belongs to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
So would that thinking be wrong then, even though I got the right answer, thinking that self-actualization would take a long time and solution focus is short?
So that is true. That is true. Solution focus doesn't have time for you to be your best. We just want to put a Band-Aid on your problem. It's EAP sessions, right? 6 to 8, short and sweet. We don't have time for that. We don't care what happened when you were 3. We don't have time for that. Okay. But remember, self-actualization is the top of Maslow's chart. You're absolutely right. Okay. However,
we don't get there. Oops, sorry.
Girl, speak for yourself. I might get there. He said, most people don't get there, but I'm going to be the one. So leave me alone.
You're going to get the transcendence, Dr. Pam. You keep doing what you're doing for us. You keep doing what you're doing for us. You're going to get the transcendence.
Well, that's yes. I want. Okay. Anyway, thank you. So the goal of that question, though, is remembering that the verbiage, and that's where we get lost. You start thinking and not going back to what the theorist said. Okay. So the theorist said Carl Rogers used self-actualization. And 6 to 8 weeks, I ain't trying to get you to be the best you can be. I'm just trying to stop you from whatever your presenting problem is. Okay, does that make sense of how we got here? And it is the Maslow. You're absolutely right. It's Maslow, but he's not a therapist, right? He's a human. In our chapter 1 of the Hellwig book, he talks about development, but he doesn't treat anybody, does he? What career theorist used Maslow?
And
yes, row fields and levels. My field is dependent on what kind of house I grew up in. If my parents were warm and fuzzy and huggy, I have a need to work with people. If my family was cold, I have a need to not work with people. The field is based on Maslow. The level, some people say Freud, but most often it's genetic. Whatever level my parents were in, I'm going to be in the same level. Okay, makes sense? Good job, good job, good job. Are we feeling overwhelmed, guys? Is it making some sense? Like, oh my gosh, it's not the worst thing ever. I can do this, Dr. Pam.
I'm scared.
Well,
yeah, I'm overwhelmed. This has been an overwhelming day since 10 o'clock this morning with these questions from me, Dr. Pam.
So the only time I say don't be scared is in my research and assessment. We didn't do any of those, so be scared. I'm just saying, I'll put it out there. You got a test that coming up soon. You need to be scared. We got to get this stuff done. Assessment and research, the only time I say don't is because I want you to memorize. Remember, you just memorize assessment. The bell curve is the bell curve. Math will never change. These are applying the technique. So what happens with a lot of us is we study, and I'll say, watch my videos all day, every day. But then if you don't know how to answer the test questions, that's the second part of it. So that's what tonight is about, is really taking the content that you knew, you thought you knew, and then getting it to a question, because they don't look as simple as we'd like for them to look. They just don't. They're vague, very, very vague. Fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, stay with me.
Dr. Pam.
Yes.
So it feels level, is that career or growth?
It is career. It is career.
Okay. How
It's
do you
ANRO.
how okay, ANRO.
Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten there yet, have we?
No.
I'm going to pull up some career questions, but you know, I haven't gotten there yet. Brianna, you ready?
I am.
One of those not questions again. Oh my God, why they give me not questions? Why can't they just make them easy?
Don't like those. And I also, as I was looking at the question, I'm not too familiar with narrative therapy. So
okay, so you're new with me. Well, I don't have to. I'll give you another one. That's probably more similar to what we're doing. I'm going to skip you also, Tamara. I'm going to give you a test more related to you. Allison?
Yeah, you want me to do this one?
I do.
Okay, I'll try it. Which of the following is not true about problem-saturated stories in narrative?
Stay in my question. What is narrative therapy?
Yeah, so if I remember narrative therapy, it's that people are kind of constructing their realities. And so you're trying to, I suppose, have them unlearn or change their thought
not right
pattern.
words, not right words. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true, but we're using the verbiage. So what?
I know one of the techniques is reauthoring.
Ding, ding, ding. I'm going to, I've got this tape that plays in my head. It's a constructivism theory, right? I constructed this. This is what I believe to be true. It doesn't matter if anybody else believes it's true or not. It's my belief system. My story in my head, my mother treated my brothers better than she treated me, is my problem saturated story. Over and over again, it's in my head. It's like this like cassette. I don't know if you're not old enough to be a cassette.
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay, you say, but everybody else, if you don't know, it's past your bedtime. So we know, okay. Over and over my head, it plays and plays and plays. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the eject button. And that's called externalize. I'm taking the story outside of my head. Okay?
Right.
We're popping it out. Okay. And then remember, back with those cassettes, we're going to deconstruct it, right? Pull the strings, take it apart. That's the word, deconstruct. We're going to understand it, clarify, and then we're going to reauthor it. And way I normally teach is I say, you know, back in the day when some boy made you a love song, love tape, mixtape, right? You know, old enough to remember, you had to call the radio station and ask them to play the song, wait 3 hours, they finally plays the song, you hit play and record at the same time, and you're getting the song, right? So, and then another 3 days later, you do it again. It takes you like 12 days to make a mixtape. That's what you're doing. You're reauthoring your story. That's the goal. Okay. The one of the things also with narrative therapy, sometimes you'll see it's a collaborative therapy because the narrative therapist wants to use your verbiage. So that's the one that's going to take notes in session because I want to use your words. When we reauthor your story, it's your story. We're just rewriting it so it's not a problem saturated story. As we learned the theorist, words matter. I'm going to correct you every time if you use the wrong words. And I know it means the same thing in your head, but when you get to the test, you've got to know who said what. That's really that simple. Just with those one lines. Okay. Okay. Back to you, Allison.
Okay. So the choices are A, they occur because people become so focused on the problem, they cannot see other possibilities. B, they ignore exceptions to the story. C, they offer proof that the problem defines the person. Or D, they lack influence of social context.
What can I rule out? I'm looking at things that are true.
Right. So which of the following is not true? So I want to find the ones that are true. Yeah, because I was reading that. I'm like, these are all really good answers. So yeah, I would say what is true is they occur because A is true. So I would eliminate that one. And I also would eliminate that I think that they do ignore exceptions to the problem. No,
I don't know.
Is that going to be the answer to that? It seems like people probably tell themselves problems over and over again. And then when there's an exception.
Oh, you're thinking. Stop thinking. That
Okay.
Did I say anything about exceptions in this theory?
No.
Okay, I'm just saying, is there anything I said about exceptions?
No.
I did talk about exceptions when I talked about solution focus.
Right.
And it's the problem, not a problem.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So, okay. So let's keep going.
So they offer proof that the problem defines the person. That makes sense that they would do that if they're continually talking about their problems over and over again. So I would get rid of C.
I'm going to get rid of D. That's true. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm between B and C. Okay. So in the story I've come up with in my head that I believe to be true. So, and I said they ignore exceptions. So the problem with constructivism is I believe what I believe to be true.
Right.
Okay. So I don't want you to take B out. I want you to keep that in. So between B and C, what is true?
Well, I thought B, but when we were talking about it, it sounded like that was not true.
Okay. So what about C?
They offer proof that the problem defines the person. I mean, that seems plausible to me too, because they're constantly talking about their problems and yeah, it's who they are.
So B was my answer. I just wanted you to really remember that's not usually a term that I see that belongs to narrative therapy.
Can you explain D? They lack influence of social context.
It's my story. My brothers and I grew up in the same house. They're wrong. It's my story. I don't care what they say. We're 5 years apart. And I asked them, what house did you grow up in?
Okay.
That makes sense. It's my story that I've constructed. And the therapist doesn't care if it's true or not. The therapist just cares that it's causing me problems. Okay. So if I grew up in a house, and again, and I think all of us have had that, you know, my brothers and I, again, we're 5 years apart, 3 of us. She had 3 kids in 5 years. And when we talk, I'm like, that didn't happen. But that's not true. Because my construct, my narrative is my narrative. Their narrative is their narrative. So my story doesn't have anything to do with anything else. Okay. Yeah. And so B is true. It's the best of the 4. Because
yeah, that was hard.
Maybe I'm not right.
Okay, that one was hard. So the big thing was like the verbiage and just staying with narrative, and the exceptions would be more solution focused.
Got it. But in this one, that's the best answer of the 4. That's not true.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good? Is that how we got there?
Yes, for sure. I thought that was hard though.
It was hard.
They all sounded pretty good for narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't pick the easy ones for tonight. I purposely did not. This is to make your brain hurt tonight. Everybody's brain's hurting, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I should have been a doctor. I should have been a nurse. I should have been. Okay, so let me go back. I'm going to do this one, and then I'll go back and do something else. Okay, no, I did that one. Good. Okay. Not that one either. Tamara, have you seen this question?
Hello, sorry, I was trying to unmute. I don't think so.
Okay, this is yours.
Okay, yay me.
Yay you, look at you.
The primary goal of person-centered counseling is to, so when I think of person-centered, I think of hold
yes,
on.
Carl Rogers, absolutely.
My mind went blank.
Carl Rogers.
Carl Rogers. Thank you. So A, help people understand their biological predispositions. B, assist people in bringing unconscious material to awareness. C, develop people trust and ability to use their own resources. D, help people gain control of their drives and parental messages.
What can I rule out?
We can rule out B.
Okay, who that belong to?
Freud.
Ding, ding, ding. Anything unconscious, anything about the insight, that's always a Freudian question. Good.
Okay, we can take out A, that's Bowen.
It could be anybody with biological, right? So predispositions, that's what we know that drug and alcohol use, there's a 75% chance that I'm going to be an addict because my parents were, even if I wasn't raised by them. Same thing with schizophrenia. Okay, but person-centered didn't say that. What words belong to person-centered? What did Carl Rogers say?
Empathy, congruency, and the patient being the client being the expert.
Ding, ding, ding. So he used the word genuineness. It means the same thing as congruent, but specifically his verbiage was genuine. So remember, if the client is telling me something and my mouth and my body don't line up, they're not going to trust me.
Correct.
Right? I teach my college students now, when somebody drops a bomb saying things that you didn't think you would hear, you're going to say, thanks for sharing. That's true, right? That's true. They trusted you. right? You might, your gut might be churning because what they showed you, but you really appreciate the fact they trusted you. So what's coming out of my mouth matches my body. That's congruent. But Carl Rogers used genuineness.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to unconditional positive regard, empathy, and genuine. It's called the facilitative or the core conditions.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, I just talk all day, no problem.
I receive it. So
okay.
So when we talk about Carl Rogers, we definitely don't want to talk about people having control of their drives and parental messages. So I'm going to exit D and choose C, develop people's trust and ability to use their own resources.
But you have to tell me who D belongs to. We had the same question a minute ago.
I was gonna say transactional analysis.
Nope. Somebody help her out. Who's this?
Freud.
That's your id and your super ego.
Well, thank you.
So, and again, this question came from a different place than the last questions came from. So while they were written a little differently, we're always just understanding the verbiage of who said what.
That was tough.
I know. You was sweating, wasn't you?
I was.
Woo, girl. Tonight should come with a warning label. Next time I teach this, I'll put a warning. This may be painful.
You should.
I'm gonna go back to you, Brianna.
Hi.
Hi.
So
did we see this question already?
I have not.
Okay.
Lily was concerned that her client had not collected all the data necessary to make an important decision and shared her concern with her client. Lily's behavior is an example of. So it's taking a look at the counselor's behavior.
I'm sorry. Where so Lily is the counselor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Lily, the counselor, is concerned about her client's behavior. Like, is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought because the last sentence said Lily's behavior is an example of, so I was looking at
okay, you are. I don't want to confuse you. You are. You're absolutely right. That's what we're in the same game. I just want to understand that what's happening with the client. That's what I was going. So I'm going to stop talking and let you figure it out.
Okay, no, it's okay. The client is making an important decision and she hasn't really maybe considered all of the different factors that went into making that choice. And the counselor shared that thought with the client. Lily's behavior is an example of.
Can we go back? Because I think I'm lost. So tell me again. What's happening in the question?
So the counselor is concerned that her client did not gather all of the information she needed to make an important decision. So the client is making an important decision right now.
Okay.
I think, if I'm understanding that correctly. So it's asking about the counselor's behavior, correct?
Got it.
Okay. So A is self-disclosure, B is empathy, C is immediacy, and D is acceptance. I would rule out B, empathy. I would rule out. I would also rule out D, acceptance. because she's doing the opposite of that.
So immediacy is one of those social, those core, core counseling skills. You know what that means?
No.
Immediacy means I'm going to bring it up right now. So immediacy is in the session, we've talked about this and this and this, and I'm going to discuss it right now. So I do that often when we're talking about something, and I will say, you realize that that's this. You just use this.
Okay.
So it's like a teaching moment.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So when I get down to A and C, I do the same process. I go back to the question. Which can I prove in the question?
I would say I'm still stuck, but I'm leaning more towards C.
Hold on. If you're stuck, that means you don't understand the question.
Yeah, I'm still,
okay.
Well, I feel like, well, no, actually, she's not self-disclosing. She's not.
You sure? You sure? You sure? You sure? You sure? You sure?
I don't think because I don't think she's sharing information about herself. She may be addressing
Lily
her.
is concerned that her client has not collected all the data necessary. I know y'all, when y'all saw data, your research, like lights went on and all of a sudden everybody went into panic mode because there was data in the question. Right. And you just like stop thinking the minute you saw data, right? Yes.
That's usually what gets me when I
Yes. Everybody in the group, everybody in the group. So she's concerned Lily's making a decision and Lily she's concerned her client hasn't done enough research to make this decision. And I tell my client, I'm concerned about you. I don't think you've gathered enough information. It's either A or C.
I think it's
A. It's A. It's A. It's A. It's
Why
A.
is it A?
Because that's the best of the four. That's all I got. I can't, there's nothing else in there. Okay. So when I think of self-disclosure, right, I think of like sharing a lot of myself.
Okay.
Okay. But that's not an option here. I didn't accept her behavior because I told you my concerns. I wasn't feeling any empathy, was I?
No. Is it because of the use of the word concern?
Because the clinician shared her concerns with the client, and I've got 4 choices. When I think of self-disclosure, I usually think of telling you, well, in my life, this is what happened, right?
Yeah.
But I've got 4 choices. That's all I've got. And I've got to pick the best of the 4. Don't you hate it when you get to the test and the answer you think should be there is not an option?
Dr. Pam, can you explain, okay, immediacy?
Do you have your Howard book with you?
I do. It's downstairs, but I'll review it.
I'll pick it up.
I'll
Okay, I'll pick it up. Okay, so I'll pick it up. But so again, I do questions purposely these tonight because I want you to understand that despite what I want to be there and what I've thought to be self-disclosure, that's the best of the 4. When you leave the test feeling like you failed, that's when you passed because they're not so black and white. I've got 4 choices. In chapter 3 of the Howard book, if you don't have it, I'll gladly share with you. And it really, and the second part of that, it gives you those core listening skills. Active listening does not mean you said anything. Active listening, I don't have to say one word and it's still active listening. Okay. So the counseling skills and conditions, remember that those counseling skills on your test, it has like 37,000 points. That's where it's coming from. Okay. Immediacy is dealing with what's going on in the counseling process at the present time. So when you say something to me and I say, oh, do you realize that that was reflection? That's immediacy. It's about teaching in the moment.
Thank you.
Self-disclosure, appropriate self-disclosure means the counselor shares personal affect and experiences relative to the client's issues.
Yeah, this question was so not clear. Not like.
No, I know. Why don't they write them easier? Why they don't just say what I want them to say? I know.
Dr. Pam, I also know, like a couple of your videos, you say that for the test that we should not self-disclose.
We should not. You're absolutely right. When it's a code of ethics question, you should not self-disclose. But do you see where this definition matches the test question?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Code of ethics says we shouldn't self-disclose at all. You're absolutely right. But we go back to that question. I only had 4 choices. I only had 4. I didn't have the ones that I wanted. I only had 4. That was my file. Okay. So again, the goal of tonight is when you're lost, when you can't figure it out, that's the one that makes the most sense of the 4. That's all I got. I ain't got no more. It's not a write-in test. I can't fill in the blank. I can't add what I really think. That's all I have.
So would an example of immediacy be if somebody makes a face or their body language is incongruent or they're crying, you point it out right away?
You know what? I don't understand why people don't like me. I think I come across as warm and friendly, and the client's sitting in my office with their arms closed. I'm going to say, well, what I see right now, it looks like you don't come off as very friendly. I refer to it as a teaching moment. It's happening right now, and you don't understand that you're doing it, so I'm going to do it right now. That's immediacy. You remember, I don't write the textbook, right? I don't write the test. They won't let me. I've written test questions for almost every other major test, but unless I'm an LPC, they won't let me. I don't make it up. I swear I don't. I'm just telling you how to pass the test. Okay? Of the 4 choices, that's the best choice. That's all you have. I think what happens is when you're on the test, when you can't find an answer, you freak out. Yes? So of the 4 choices, it's not immediacy.
Yeah.
It's written to be vague. It's written to make you have higher level thinking processes. It's written to make you think a little bit out of the box. It is not going to say, according to Carl Rogers, which is what are his 3 things. It's not going to say that. If again, please tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You've taken the test before. Tell me that I'm wrong. I'm good with if I'm wrong. Next time I'll put a warning label on this session. This may cause extreme heartache. This may cause extreme heartache. We'll put that on my. Okay. Leonella, have you seen this one? You might know this one.
I have not seen it.
Do you know the answer though?
Let me
I
read.
think you might do. I'm gonna give you another one because I think you probably know that.
Okay.
I just think you know it, so that's not making you think. Okay. Neela, take this one.
All righty. The primary purpose of externalizing problem is to
Then my question, who the heck are they talking about?
Who are they talking about?
Somebody help her out?
Narrative therapy.
Narrative therapy. I popped the story out of my head. Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
External. Okay.
So get one of them
Thank you, thank
lines.
you.
And if I don't have a clue, I'm like so lost. Oh Lord, help me.
Yes. So narrative therapy. Okay. So the primary purpose of externalizing the problem is to help the client recognize that they are separate from the problem, help elicit rich description, allow the client to reduce responsibility for current life issues, evaluate possible solutions to the problem. Okay, so externalizing. Let's see.
Okay, so stay
So
in my question. Stay in my question because I'm still not really sure that you
externalizing,
understand the question.
externalizing.
What am I
is
externalizing? The story in my head. I've had this story in my head, and I believe the story to be true. So that's what we said before. I'm going to take the
narrative.
Hit the eject button, right, and pop it out.
Okay, so ejecting and let's see, help the client recognize that they are separate from the problem. Allow the client to reduce responsibility. So I will eliminate C. And let's see. I'm going to hold on to D.
You want to phone a friend?
I will B. I'll eliminate B. And then I'm gonna take a look at A and D. So help the client
compare it to which one?
Ejecting it.
Okay, so which one? This is narrative therapy, right? And most of you would not have known this prior to tonight. I don't know you that well, but most of you on the test, you would have been freaking out. What the heck does it mean? Okay, I know that belongs to narrative therapy because I take the story out of my head, hit the eject button, take that cassette out, and I take it apart. Right?
Yeah. So if I'm going to do that, then help the client recognize that they are separate from the problem.
Dang, dang, dang. It's the problem saturated story that's in my head. How are we feeling, guys? Only about 6 people dropped out so far. Okay, so we're we're
nervous,
stupid or brave. What is it?
We're nervous and scared, but we're gonna hang in there, especially with you.
I'm gonna give you this one just because I know you and I want to challenge you, and I don't think that last one would have challenged you. Is that fair to say?
Dr. Pam.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I'm not scared.
So,
as you would say.
Yeah, don't be scared. Okay, Lynella, this one is yours.
Okay, which of the following is not a role of the counselor in multimodal therapy?
Who the heck is that?
Multimodal therapy is that eclectic therapy.
Lazarus, and what
basic,
did he talk about?
Basic ID.
Yes, there we go. There we go. Ooh.
Okay, so
it's a not question. So 3 of these are true, 1 is not.
Okay, so the options are A, to adhere to one theoretical perspective, B, to be an active facilitator, C, to be in charge, D, to be an authentic.
Chameleon? You got that last one? Chameleon. You know what a chameleon is?
Isn't that an animal?
Chameleons? Yeah. So they
Person
change
X
colors to
one.
blend in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your kids ever have lizards? They like blend in. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So which one is on the role of a multimodal? B.
For those of you who don't know this theory, he says, however you present, I'm going to treat you. Right? You present as a behavior, it's when it's an affect, a mood, you present it with your senses. That's how I'm going to treat you. Okay. So that's the basis of the theory. What am I taking out?
B.
Okay.
I'm going to eliminate C. And my answer is going to be A because it's multi.
You might get one or two questions on basic ID. I don't teach him. So when we're talking, we're trying to get the basic therapies down. He's not one that I'm always going to spend time on. So if you're tutoring with me or any of my staff, we're always going to focus on where the most questions are. Right? So yes, you might see him, but until you learn the other really big people really well, then we're not going to teach you that because you might get 2 or 3 questions on him. Okay? So he's considered eclectic. And if anyone has said to you, you're eclectic, say to them, no, I'm not. I'm integrative. Integrative means that I have my own theory and I may be using a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it's my own theory. Eclectic means I don't have any of my own stuff. I borrow from somebody else and I'm not good at anything. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, we good?
So does he really talk about the chameleon? Does he say that word? Or
No, that's not true. We took that out.
oh, okay.
So authentic chameleon. What's a chameleon? So again, and you know what? This is one of those terms that's an American idiom.
A chameleon is a person. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Like I look at a person. A person acts one way, when they would a group of people, and then act another way. So they're not that to me. Like you said, blend in. Is a chameleon. They change. Okay. They change. For whoever they are around. So I have for instance, it's funny because I was telling my director the other day. It's a lady on a job. I work for an insurance company. She's a UR and she's been there like 20 something years. So when she's with us, the not leadership. Oh, this place is a mess. I've been here 25 years. And then she goes with leadership and she likes to tell, what other people say, the regular URs. So to me, that's like a chameleon.
So does that make sense? And again, there's always such a language difference. If you learned English outside of America, you learned correct English. A chameleon is an animal. But in English idioms, American idioms, to be a chameleon means you change to fit in. Okay? So he is an authentic chameleon because he picks whatever therapy that he needs at the time. Okay, does that make sense? And again, I cannot imagine. I struggle with English most days. And when I travel, I got my phone with me. I'm pointing to a picture. I'm like, I struggle. I struggle. And I want to leave the country, but I'm looking for places that mainly speak English because all my kids, my dog, everybody in my family's bilingual. My dogs are too. I am not. I'm not gonna lie. My groomer and my housekeeper are both they speak Spanish. All 3 of my kids speak Spanish. Most of my kids speak more than one language. Mama struggles with English. So those of you who are non-native American English speakers, I can only imagine how hard it is for you. And there's no list I can give you to teach you American idioms. I can't do that. I used to teach conversational English, because that's a lot of things that are just conversations that you just don't understand. And I am sorry the test is harder for you. I am. I'm gonna go back to some basic recall. I know, just some recall. Okay. I am with, you have all moved places. Who hasn't had a question?
Me, I've been trying to hide out after our 10 o'clock session this morning, but I want to try this one.
Okay, so to be transparent, we had a rep session this morning. We went over some questions that Nicole is, and she's been studying, doing very well. We had a rep session this morning. I appreciate you showing up, because it would have been easy to just, put your head between your legs and not come back and, be the ostrich. But Bandura's self-efficacy, that's in his career theory, self-efficacy means I'm not going to give up. Right. It may take me longer. It may be harder for me, but I want this so bad. I'm not going to give up. And I say to all of my clients, when you want this test as much as you want to breathe, you'll pass. You will. You suck up your pride. You cry your tears and do whatever you need to do because you want to pass. And this is not a lifetime venture, is it? This is a time and space. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you're making mega bucks, you ain't gonna know my name. You remember that Dr. Pam like 1,000 years ago? You won't even remember my name. You'll forget all the videos you had, and you'll be doing great. It's just about getting through this space and time right now. Right now. Hang in there, Nicole. And thank you. Okay, here we go.
Nicole, what did you do? Tell me, so I don't do that. I don't make Dr. Pam mad.
Oh, I wasn't mad.
She wasn't mad.
I wasn't mad. If I'm mad, if I'm mad, I am all up in your stuff. Girl, I told you to study. How come you didn't study? You will know when I'm mad. That makes me go to therapy. Do you know that? I should charge you extra because when I want it more than you want it, I have to go to therapy. I have to set my boundaries and remind myself. My therapist has to remind. Can you imagine being my therapist? Oh, Lord, that girl should make mega bucks, okay? If I have to go to therapy to complain about clients, So
she wasn't mad. I was in the
I wasn't mad
because
at all.
she came with some pocket prep questions and I bombed. And I'm like, whoa, like these questions we are going through tonight. This is what she presented to me today. So I was like, oh no, but not coming back
Because
is
she
not me.
tests in like a month. And we got it. We got to break up. It's nothing personal. My staff will take all your money all day long, but that's not okay. We got to break up.
Yes, we do.
I don't do long-term relationships. That's why I'm single. I don't know how. Okay.
Well, that's what we have in common, Dr. Pam. And yes, we are going to break up. And that's why
we are.
Nothing is not going to keep me from coming on these groups until I get that paper. So
and then when you come back, you go back and tell us and tell how you did, right?
Altruism. That's right. Altruism is when I
very good. Oh, I was going another term. I was going to say, shoot, I lost it. Anyway, go ahead. I was going to say something, but I lost that term.
Okay. Egocentrism, animism, and artificialism are characteristics of which of Jean Piaget's stages of cognitive development. So, egocentrism, I know these are between ages 2 and 7. Egocentrism, what makes me stick out to me, where they're asking me what are these stages. So what sticks out to me is watching a video and egocentrism, 2-3-year-old, it's me, it's all about me, it's all about them, egocentric. Animism, what sticks out to me when I watch your videos is the animism. They have their animals, they make them like their persons, become like a real to them.
Absolutely.
So when it's A, sensorimotor, B, preoperational, C, post-formal, D, concrete operations, and E, formal operations. Now, where did that extra E come in from, Dr. Pam? How we get 5?
Yeah, again, we use questions from all around.
All right, so
what I don't want you to do is, if we use questions from the same place all the time, if it's written slightly differently, when you get there, it's going to cause you anxiety. And I don't want that. I want you to see it from very different spaces. So when I give you questions, I mean, I've got a test bank of probably, I teach college. I have a huge test bank. So I try to purposely use different test banks so you don't get used to the same way it's written. Because if you studied pocket prep over and over again and you get to the test and they're not written the same way, you freak out. And I don't want that to happen. I'm really doing everything I can to prepare you of what it might look like. Okay?
So I'm going to get rid of this. I know I want to get rid of C because that's not even post-formal. It's not even.
That's the made-up stuff.
Right. Never even heard of that. Concrete, it's not the concrete stage.
What happened in the concrete stage, Nicole?
Conservation.
Which means?
A kid recognizes, in other words, if it's a full glass or half glass, a kid knows that it's the same amount in each glass.
Okay, I'm looking for the words like volume and mass. I realize
right, volume and mass. That's the word verbiage I should have used. Yes.
No, that's we're good. Okay. So then, and
that formal operations, that seemed like some made up stuff. We can get rid of that E.
No, it's not. SPCF.
Oh, right, formal, right, formal operations. Okay. So it's not formal.
So I want to say again, remember that Piaget said that not everybody gets to the formal stage. A lot of people set the concrete stage. There are a lot of people that cannot do abstract thinking. And I don't know if I've described it in this group or some video somewhere. It is, I speak to text. Okay? There's some words missing. There's some incorrect grammar, right? Most of my staff knows me well enough to figure in the blanks. I've got some staff members that are like, what does this mean? Because it's not written in like every exact word's not there. So people in the formal stage can figure it out. People in the concrete stage, if I didn't say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they're lost. Not everybody gets to the formal stage, which requires abstract thinking. Okay. This test requires abstract thinking.
Dr. Pam, didn't you use that for, I believe, for the abstract thinking when you say, like, when your parents, your mother tell you lie down with dogs, you're going to wake up, get up with fleas?
Ding.
Okay.
So that's concrete. The concrete stage, I'm like, hey, let me, I'm itching. I slept with Fido tonight, right?
Right. Okay.
So that the diseases I can get from this thing ain't the same thing as diseases I can get from some dogs, right? You wake up with some chlamydia, something like that, right? That's formal operational. She's not going to give me chlamydia, I promise you. Okay. Again, purposeful, step on toes, make you remember. It's very purposeful the way that I teach. Okay? It embarrasses, if it freaks you out, good, because you won't forget it.
Well, it helps me to remember. So
okay.
And okay, so between A and B, I know it's not sensor motor because that's not, first of all, that's not even the stage is 2 to 7. And sensor motor is beginning like learning through senses, feeling, touching, observing, like watching your mother walk out of the room. That would be more of a sensor motor. So the answer is B, pre-operational.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, guys, I got to wrap you up. Ask me questions. Ask me something that I can really explain to you that I'm not trying to tax you. I am trying to make it uncomfortable, though. I've never, no matter how much I teach, no matter how much I remind my client that it's a vague test, they always come back to me and they say, it's so vague, it's so vague, it's so vague. And that's the one thing I really want to get across to you is you can study theories all day and still flunk the test because you don't understand when it's not the same way it's written. Ask me questions. A couple people didn't get questions. Do y'all want some? I can. Lexus, Johari.
I knew you were gonna call me out.
Well, I was gonna say, baby.
I want a question.
Do you want a question? Okay.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Call your own. Walk in the room like you own the room. Okay, find you one. Lexus, your test date is soon. When is it?
April 21st.
Okay, so I just got to give you some props, and maybe things have changed, but our last conversation is you work nights and you have 2 young children.
Yes.
And you're my typical person. I can't study because I got these kids, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how. You do. You show up every week and you study. Tell me how.
Well, this will be my 4th time taking the test. The first time I used the purple book, and with the purple book, I didn't have any guidance. So I feel like a lot of things I used in a purple book wasn't the best at that time. I took it a second time. I scored and didn't pass by 2. The third time I was like, the 4th time here I am again. So I don't want to take this test again. But I don't know. I want this very bad. I feel like this is the thing I've been wanting for years. I want this very badly. I kind of wake up in the morning. I go to work from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. I get off of work, I study, watching a video, I take a nap, I'm hitting the books again, and then I'm taking a nap and going to work again. So I just think I just want it. So it doesn't matter. There's nothing going to get in my way this time, because usually stuff get in my way. This time I'm not allowing anything to get in my way from passing this exam.
I'm so proud of you. I am
Thank
so
you.
proud of you. Honestly, because the goal is it's just this small part of your life. It's not forever. It's just this small part. And being a mama and trying to raise kids. And I don't know about your husband, but I was raising my husband too when I was raising kids. I just gonna put that out there. Okay. So all of my people that say I don't have time, you know what? You can do it now. You can do it 5 years from now. But you still have to do it if you want to make some money. If you want to make generational changes, this license won't make you a better counselor, but it sure in the heck will change your financial status, won't it?
It surely will.
If you don't need money, it's fine. I'll take it.
Which of the following is a basic assumption of the existential approach? So when I think of existential therapist, I'm thinking of Rollo May, Viktor Frankl, Carl Jung, finding
not Carl Jung. He's not an existentialist. No. He's a Freudian. He's a psychoanalytic. He didn't believe in the sex, but don't put him in that category.
Yalom.
You're a group guy. My group, yes.
So I think of living a purposeful life. The camp, the concentration camp. Which of the following is a basic assumption of the existential approach? Humans are free.
So
but
I'm going to stay there.
I'm sorry.
So why do I exist? What is my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Humans are free, but not responsible for their actions. B, humans tend to be determined by external forces. C, early influences shape and determine the contemporary person. D, humans cannot escape from their freedom to make choices. Which of the following is a basic assumption of the existential approach? What would I take out? Humans are free but not responsible for their actions. Hey, I'm going to take that out. Which of the following is a basic assumption for the existential approach? Humans tend to be determined by
I'm going to
external.
keep A in. I'm going to keep
Okay.
A in. I'm going to take out B.
Okay.
External forces means it's outside
Side
of
of yourself. Okay.
Okay. And I'm not saying A is right, but I wouldn't rule that out first.
Yes. Okay. Early influences shape and determine the contemporary person. That is correct, but this is not the right theorist.
That is not what Frankel said.
Well, no,
He
I
did
said
not
this
say-
is not the correct theorist for this one.
Very good. Early human shape and determine, that's Freud.
Yes.
Whenever I see determinism, that's a Freud question.
Okay.
Now you're
Yes.
between A and D. That's where I want you to be.
Which of the following is a basic assumption of the existential approach? Humans are free, but not responsible for their actions. Humans cannot escape from their freedom to make choices. Humans cannot escape.
So remember existentialism. My anxiety is my goal is, why do I exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plan is that if I figure out why I exist, right? If I don't figure it out, that causes me anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
If I figure it out, it causes me guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the right to do either things. It's still considered a choice therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Humans cannot escape from their freedom to make choices. Humans cannot escape from their freedom to make choices. Humans cannot escape. Is my answer, humans are free, but not responsible for their actions. Is my answer D?
It is. Very good. What's the difference between A and C?
A and C, humans are free, but not responsible for their actions. It's choice theory, theory, so we are responsible for our actions.
Whoa. I don't know. According to existentialists, he didn't even talk about that.
Okay.
That wasn't even his term. Reality therapy talks about actions.
Oh, taking responsibility.
Yes, but that A is not a term that Viktor Frankl used. He didn't talk about your actions.
Yeah, he talked about choices.
Ding, ding, ding. Don't overthink it, according to Viktor Frankl. That's
okay.
Really all that matters. That's all that matters is, do you know what this theory says? Do you like it? I don't care if you like it. Do you agree? I don't care. Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered America in 1492. Do you agree with that? There was
Absolutely
some people here already,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna go knock on your door as I discovered your house. But the test, the theory that we've learned, the theory for the test is that's the fact.
Mm-hmm.
There's no write-in question that says I disagree.
Yes.
Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492 and discovered America. I don't have to agree with that. No one ever said, Dr. Pam, what do you think? Mm-hmm. All I have to know is what the theory said.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense of why you're missing sometimes? I don't care what you think about existentialism. Just know that actions don't belong to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Does that help?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want one? Can I go? How did tonight feel? Ooh, painful. I don't want to be a counselor anymore, Dr. Pat. That's REBT, by the way, right? ABCD of REBT. It's the irrational belief system. An event happened. I had a group with Dr. Pam tonight, and now my belief system is I'll never be a counselor. Oh my gosh. Okay, tonight was a little bit of everything. Again, it really wasn't about, yes, you'll get these questions, but remember, taking test questions doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can take them until you're blue in the face, but it doesn't matter. What matters is, content, who said what. When I say externalize, you know that belongs to narrative family therapy. When I say the accept question, when the problem is not a problem, that's solution focused, right? When I say miracle question, when I talk about unconditional positive regard, that your mind automatically knows that that belongs to a solution focused. Every theorist has their own language, but you can't just memorize the language because that won't help you either. You really have to know the theorist. It's that simple. This is your whole career is based on knowing these theorists. Every day you go to work and how you treat clients is based on these theorists. So take these theorists into your work life instead of trying to memorize them. If I were teaching you dental surgery to be a dentist, you could, memorize, hell, I don't know, some teeth words. Okay. I'm not even going to pretend. I don't even know. Okay. But you do this already. I'm not teaching you brain surgery. I'm giving you the words for what you do already. You should be bringing this verbiage into your everyday life. Okay. It's been a pleasure, guys. Nicole, I didn't know you were. Are you Catholic? I didn't know that. I didn't think that.
Christian Baptist, but I observed Lent.
Let me stop recording.